All right. Welcome to A Woman's Place is in the Struggle. I'm joined by, well, I'm Kim. I'm the host, or one of the hosts. And then, of course, we're joined by Kristin Jordan, who's running for District 9 in New York City, which is just awesome and amazing. It's just awesome to just see more people of color, more women of color stepping up into these positions that historically have been for men and for white men at that. So it's just awesome to see, and I'm honored to just be able to host these talks once a month. And Kristin, did you want to say a little thing before we continue with our questions? Or
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for hosting again. And I like these discussions. Every month we just get to check in and sort of read our pulse as women. And, so many of the problems in the world, just straight up being honest, are connected to patriarchy. And there's direct correlation between the immense power that men have, mostly white men have,
mm-hmm.
and the issues, the state of our world, and the issues that we see going on. So I'm very proud to run. I'm very excited in this moment to actually be leading the pact in
Mm-hmm.
fundraising and in grassroots connections and in voter pledges. And if I win, I'll be the first out Black woman on New York City Council, which I think is both
Yeah.
sad but also amazing.
Yeah.
To shatter some ceilings that need to be shattered. And for anyone who's in or near Harlem, I am a very radical candidate. I am a democratic socialist and abolitionist, and the Harlem acronym is about holding police accountable,
Mm-hmm.
having affordable housing in the community, making sure we have resources for those who are most in need, taking care of seniors, green space,
Mm-hmm.
and funding for education, and a lot of other just important things.
Mm-hmm.
Putting the people first. So
Absolutely. And all of those things are so needed. And, it's definitely needed at this time. It's been needed. Let's be real. It's been needed. And it's just been swept under the rug and put on the back burner for so long. And it's wonderful to see you and other candidates just really making sure that's the highlight and that is the focus going forward. So thank you for that. Um, so I have a list of questions. The first, it's going to be kind of a random, different questions, but it should be fun. So the first question is, with everything going on with the presidential debates, and I'm hearing a lot of different talk about race war, that the race war is happening now, or it's going to be like an explosion if Trump is reelected, or it's going to be an explosion if Biden gets elected as president. There's a lot of talk about that, and I'm curious to know, do you feel that there's a race war happening as of right now, or you think it's going to get worse? And how can we stop the race war, or how can we rectify the situation to make it better, if that makes any sense? So the race war is, I think, what's happening is, it's just people are feeling very, especially like in the Black community, are not feeling heard. They're not feeling validated. They're not feeling, all of these things. And I think it's clashing with people that are not Black, or some other, not necessarily white. It could be another color that disagrees with Black Lives Matter and this and that. And I think there's just this divide between people that care about other people, and then people that just don't care about other people. I think that's just like honestly the bottom line. We can say Democrat, Republican, we could say all of these different facets and all of these different modalities, but in reality, that's just what it boils down to. It's like, you care or you don't care. So you know, it's a shame that that's the case. And unfortunately, I mean, even in, you know, Aryan knows and certain religious sects, it's like that. It's like, you know, they act like they care, but they
Cliquish.
don't, you know, they don't care. And they justify that, they justify not caring for some biblical scripture, you know. But as far as stopping the race war, I think it's just, it's going to be an ongoing thing. It's going to be ongoing because I just don't see an end to it, because as humans, we are always trying to categorize people, you know, and we subconsciously do it. You know, we subconsciously put ourselves on a certain level, if that makes any sense. So I feel like it's just going to be ongoing. What do you think?
I definitely agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I think that is going to be something that it's going to last for maybe a couple of centuries, you know. But um, everybody's always, like you said, is on a, it's a class, you know, a class, you know. African American people at the bottom and Caucasians are at the top. So it's always going to be this class until they realize that most of us are actually all pretty much one race. We are all one. We're not, there's no divide in all of us. I mean, we all bleed the same blood. In in the next century, I believe that everybody's going to be a bunch of mixed breeds, because there's so many people that's, you know, going into different cultural type of relationships. I don't think it's going to be one particular ethnical group versus another. We all going to be in one class. However, you're always going to have this capitalism, and that's the thing that we have a problem with right now. It just, yes, of course, it's always going to be about cultural differences,
Yeah.
you know, but capitalism is the thing that's keeping us even more in that jungle of ethical biting. You know, like everybody's trying to get to that particular top of the ladder, and there is no, you know, there's no, nobody's trying to stop that. You know, it's always going to be somebody at the top. You know, you look at Jeff Bezos, you look at all these billionaires, the one percenters. These people are the people that pretty much makes the world go round. We think that the president is the main person that's causing all this uproar, but there's the people behind the scenes that puppeteers the president. So it's just like, if people open their eyes, it's more than just ethnical groups. It's more than just politics. This is a whole different type of thing going on in this world that we don't even know about. And we just kind of we using race to kind of categorize or make a reason for the way that we, you know, this is the reason why we feel this way, or this is the reason why things are going the way it's going. No, it's all about money.
So you think it's mostly about classism? It's not about race? Because I've heard that before. What do you think? Is it mostly about classism? Okay.
Yeah, because if you're Oprah Winfrey, there's no, you know, everybody look at Oprah Winfrey, not particularly me, but a lot of people look at Oprah Winfrey as, she's a billionaire, she's a woman of color. You know, if you was in a category of Oprah Winfrey, would your actual skin color will really matter? You know, because at the end of the day, you can pretty much buy whatever you want. Pretty much, you could buy a person if the person would be like, I'll spread myself for 1 billion. You know what I'm saying? I'll bend it over one time for you. You can pretty much buy a person. And it's the same thing for all these other billionaires. I just think that if you're in a certain class, your color is still going to play a difference. It don't matter, because people are always going to have a reason to not like you because of the color of your skin. However, if you was in a different class, it probably wouldn't hit you as bad, or it probably wouldn't even hit you at all. Because they're not going to show you that difference if you're a billionaire. But since you like looking, you know, like me, oh, you know, she's not in my class, and plus she's an African American woman, so I could care less about her.
I definitely think, you know, we're in capitalism and money is king. I definitely agree with that. But I would push back a little bit in that I do think like race and money are so intertwined. Our system is so much capitalist and also white supremacist that it's very hard to separate the two. If you're a wealthy Black person, the question is, oh, well, how did you get to be that way? And there's a huge amount of scrutiny placed on wealthy Black people. And listen, I'm not a capitalist, so I don't think we should have any billionaires of any color. But there is an extra scrutiny placed on wealthy Black people that is not there for wealthy white people. And if we actually start looking at the means in which people became wealthy,
that's right,
are with these white people who have a lot, just generations of wealth that date back to slavery and exploitation. And that's how you got wealthy, you know? And so, but yet the ones that we will be most critical of, or that the world will be most critical of, will be the Black people.
Exactly, I definitely.
And I do think that is definitely racialized and racist.
And I do feel like, just to add to what you were saying, Kristin, I do feel that way too, because I feel like that if you put a Black, if we're gonna use billionaire, if you put a Black billionaire and a white billionaire side by side, they're going to be quick to dig deep into the Black billionaire's life and what they're doing. And then it's like, oh, if they're doing something crazy, it's like, but if it's the white billionaire and they're doing all this crazy stuff, it's like, oh, no, let's hide that. No, we're not gonna put that out there. Don't let nobody see that. They're gonna be quick to defend them, and they might have done the craziest stuff, the most unimaginable things.
Happening.
Yeah, but if the Black billionaire does even the slightest, I'm not even gonna say it's immoral, but if they want to put it in the category of immoral thing, then they blow that out the water. So I do think it is a mix of classism and definitely like racism. I do believe it's like so tightly wound together. So I do still feel like there's race involved, most definitely. And I do feel like at the end of the day, the black billionaire, if we're gonna go with that terminology, is never gonna be seen in the same light as the white counterpart. Unless people choose to change their mindset and change the way they think. But I'm not sure when that'll be.
Yeah.
And it's individual too, like to change, that's an individual thing. And it's something that is intimate, and you actually have to be humble on some level to accept the fact that you're thinking a way that's not correct. And that for a lot of people, that is very difficult.
Right.
So that might take a while, or there's a song that talks about like people can change, you know, and I try to live out hope that like, yeah, I think, you know, things can, like people can change in the future. Like if, you know, and I've seen it, like I've read an article about a guy who was a white supremacist and was with the KKK, and then he changed, and now he's like, you know, looks back on what he did and he's ashamed and he's a better person now. I mean, that's an amazing change, right? But that the reason why that's so highlighted is wow, because it doesn't happen. Like, you know, if it happened frequently where people were changing left and right, we would just be like, okay. But because that's something that's so drastic, like it's wow. And what does that say? It says it's not a common thing, you know?
Rare. It is rare. I do think it's not only possible, but somewhat inevitable. I think that's just kind of the place I come from in terms of a place of faith that I don't know. It's just faith. I just believe that we are inevitably moving towards a greater humanity. But I do think that even in some ways calling it a war makes me a little nervous, because I do think that we should be clear on, you know, who fired the first shots here and who's been firing shots, and that there has been really unchecked genocide on our people.
Yeah.
That's you know, we are in a genocide, and then there are a few rare acts of self-defense for sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like it may even be a stretch to call it a war, because I so overwhelmingly see those of us who are Black and brown advocating for humanity, like not just me, but humanity. And then I so often see white supremacist folks advocating for like just them, just white people.
That is the truth.
Yeah.
That is
Very
so
selfish
true.
thought process.
Very selfish thought. That is so true. Yeah. Because even like some of them are trying to say like, oh, well, again, they use, I mean, these, I've gotten in trouble for saying these people, but anyways, I'll just say it. These particular people have also used the Bible, like I had said earlier, to justify not wearing a mask, or just all of this stuff, and you're right, it comes across as very selfish. Oh no, it's about me, when Black Lives Matter and all the different organizations, we are for humanity, we are for the people, we are for justice, and I'm just tired of people saying, well, Black Lives Matter is destroying this country. Where are you
how is
getting
it
that
really?
from?
Right.
Where?
Yeah.
And then when we call you out, you don't say nothing. Then don't say something that doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Why are you saying stuff and then you don't defend it?
Thank you.
That's crazy to me.
But that's because there's no substance behind it, and you're just repeating either something you've already heard, and you didn't do the research yourself, or you don't have your own belief or conviction in it. So that's hugely that part. Also, going back to calling it a race war, I think that's a lot of baiting and poking the bear. I feel like if we continue to heighten it like that, then it's like it's going to stay on that level. When we start to dig deeper, but I feel like people use that certain terminology as a means to make it bigger than what it is. It's like having someone in your ear talking mess, right? And saying that somebody's talking about you, and then the next person doing it in your ear. It's like just egging it. It's like, poking the bear. It's making a situation worse than it could be. I feel like every time it gets to the point where there's a sense of people might be trying to remotely make a change, there's going to be a group of people or media or whoever feeling like, no, we can't have that. That sounds like too much like right. Let's go ahead and like antagonize them again. And that happens on both ends, white and Black.
Yeah. So that was just the first question. Wow, that was great. So there's another question. It's going off. It's going in a different direction. Not really. The question is, what are your initial thoughts about the presidential and VP debates? And we just had a debate yesterday, so it's nice and fresh on all of our minds. I can say something really quickly. I thought yesterday was way better. Like, not way, but it was better than the first presidential debate, because the first presidential debate was it was a hot mess. I had no idea what was going on. Like, there was a question being asked, and then it wasn't being answered because of the back and forth. We had no idea what was going on.
Thank you.
And then they did a tally of like the Americans, like how we felt about that debate, and I think it said like 75% of Americans had no idea what was going on.
I would agree.
I was laughing so hard at this.
It was so difficult to watch.
Yes.
Like, I really wanted to come to the screen and just strangle that orange person, like just strangle you, because it's funny to me that the moderator even had to tell you, these are your rules that you came up with and you're not even following them. The minute you feel like you're being attacked and they're just simply asking you a question, they're not attacking you. If you're a mature person, you will understand they're just simply asking a question and want a response. However, I always felt like that during that whole debate, he felt like everything was an attack. And he always felt like he had to defend something. But then the funny thing is, when you go to defend, you're not even coming with anything real.
Yeah, it's all emotional. He's very emotional.
Very emotional.
Like when he speaks, it's very emotionally driven. But anyways, I want us to kind of like stay on topic, but like, because we could talk forever about the orange man. Like, let's be real. But go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that the issue I had with the first debate was it was not a real debate. We weren't having intellectual conversation. There wasn't, pro
Right.
and arguments being made, and we as American people could use our discernment to figure out who we agreed with. It was really, I mean, you could hardly call that crap show a
I
debate.
agree. It was all over the place, disorganized. And even with the moderators, granted, I can tell that he was getting frustrated, but like there was no sense of real control. Nobody was like stepping in and just saying like, this is supposed to be a debate. Like, and it was just, honestly, I almost didn't watch it all the way through. It was so much just unnecessariness. Not that that's a real word, but it was so much unnecessariness going on throughout that whole first debate.
And I think it was hard for Biden to put in anything. Like the only thing that came out of his mouth was, here's the deal. He just went in on him. And I'm like, dude, let him speak.
I feel like the time when, the numerous times when that particular person was trying to attack him about his son, that was when he was like, okay, I'm gonna get some words in. But that still wasn't a debate. That was literally just an argument on TV.
Yeah,
that's really what that boiled down to. The second one, just to touch on that one, was a lot better. Look, I don't even know if I want to use this word, but I'm gonna use it. I felt more at peace. I was like, okay, I can hear what she's saying. I can hear what he's saying.
Yes.
I know there is a person over here, Miss Kamala Harris, that has some intelligence, and come on with it. I was like, okay, this is what I was trying to look for in the first one, and it's amazingly crazy to me that they act like some kids with some sense, and they're the vice presidents, and then you got the president. First time I'm gonna use that word on him. Acting like he's 5 years old, like, or younger. Really, it was just crazy. It was like a kid throwing a tantrum with the presidential one, the first debate that is, and a little bit more organization with the second one. I need to look at the last one, the most recent one, so I don't have a personal opinion on that one yet. But just speaking on those first two.
Oh, you're talking about the VP debate and the presidential debate, or you're talking about the two presidential debates?
Well, at that the moment that I was just comparing was the first presidential debate, and then the one I saw
with Kamala,
when Mike Pence had the whole fly on his head, and Kamala.
That's the VP debate. Okay.
Yeah, so I was giving an example of explaining the presidential one that I saw and the VP one that I saw.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there was the last presidential debate was yesterday, and it was better. So definitely take a look at that. But
I plan to.
Yeah,
it was not better in terms of being factual. I mean,
no.
Trump was just totally making as is his way.
Yeah.
But it was better in that we actually heard one person speak and then heard the other person speak.
Got you, Kristin. I figured that's what she meant, because I seen some interesting comments on Facebook that was already making it clear. Oh, there you go. He lying again.
Yeah.
There you go.
Making up crazy numbers too. I was just laughing. But yeah, I thought the VP debate was probably the best, honestly. Like, I just felt like there was a really good exchange between both candidates, and I was actually listening because I at these debates, I want to listen to both parties. You know, I try to not be biased. I try to listen and like, let me see your point of view. Okay, let me see you know what I mean? Like, I try to be like unbiased and just kind of sit back and just watch it. But yeah, I thought that, like I said, the VP debate was better in the sense of like, I understood more about Pence because I didn't know much about him, and I knew more about Harris. I knew just her speaking on different things. I was like, okay, yeah, I remember reading about that. Oh, okay, I remember reading about that. And then she just, I just like knowing what I read and what she's saying matches. It's not like something in the article and then now what she's saying is different from what she said, and it's like, okay, what's happening? But so that was really good to see her live and just hashing it out with him. But yeah, I thought it was good, the VP one. Tanya, do you have any thoughts?
I'm with Arian.
You're with Arian?
I was trying to cheat. I was like, oh, let me read it. It's so much to read.
Thank you for being honest. You could just, it's fine. You didn't watch it. No worries.
I was just like,
yeah.
So I'm glad it was better. It seemed like it was. I haven't heard any really crazy stuff going on. The last one, when I watched that, it was like you said, it was very interesting to see how these are the men that we want to, not we, scratch that. I'm independent.
Right.
Let's
make that clear.
Yeah.
I'm done
At
with
this
them.
point, yeah.
But these are the people that we want to be the leaders of the free world, unquote, end quote. So it's interesting to say that they was acting like my 5 or 6 year old versus acting like, you know, a 50. Well, how old is men are? They like in their 70s.
70s. They're old.
Their 70s.
Yeah.
And it just takes maturity, and one of them, I'm not going to put one against the other, but one of them is a little bit more of a baby than the other one. He's a more interesting. So he has a lot to say and don't have much to say.
Yeah.
Look, a lot to say about nothing. Much to say about nothing. Basically.
Yeah, a lot to
that's
say,
like-
but
yeah.
nothing to really say. So it's more of him trying to get a point across, but there was no point. And it was just like, okay, well, just calm down. Just, you know, say what you got to say and leave it like that. So he just wanted to he wanted to prove a point, and it just got out of control. And that poor guy in the middle, the mediator, he was just there.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like, Mr. President, Mr.
He
President.
he couldn't do anything.
Poor guy.
He had no leverage.
And they blamed him for everything.
Yeah, but he had no leverage. Like, what was he supposed to say? You know what I mean?
It's like, how you
Yeah.
blame this guy? Like, he's telling them, hey, your time is up. So take your time and say, okay, all right, I'll finish my point later. Respect.
He didn't have control of the mics. That's why I mean, I'm glad it went better,
That
but
would have been perfect.
Yes. Turn
Set
that
the
mic off.
Oh, Mr. President,
They did
2 minutes,
They
click.
did it yesterday. They did it yesterday.
Good.
They did.
surprised with the VP debate, because after that first one, I mean, granted the VP one went better, but I would not have chanced it. I would have been like, let's get some control of these.
Yeah.
That was a good one. Click.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been trigger happy if I was a moderator.
And I
Especially
think
with-
it's okay. Yeah, and I think it's okay to say no. Like, even yesterday, like, can I? No. Like you're the moderator.
We
You
have
need
a
to say
moderator
no. You have
that
the
would
power
be-
to say no. Can I?
think she
No.
was like,
Move
blaming-
on. Like,
what is she, like, mix or something? That
I'm not
moderator?
sure. I'm not sure.
I think she by far did the best job moderating, and I
Yes.
understand she did have the power to mute them, but I don't think it even happened that often. I think she actually did a better job like the present
Ooh.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
I think she's one of us, though. If I'm looking at her right. It makes sense. We know how to command they don't mess
Try
with
to
us.
command
like
a
that.
room.
Like us like that, they don't mess with us. We crazy. So you can't just run over, women, African American women. We just shut it down. So
We just shut it down. Yeah.
We
Well,
give you a look.
She did do better. No, I'm not trying. She definitely did do better. I just wish there were moments where, again, the president kept saying, I'm not even gonna say, but Trump kept say, oh, can I say, oh, I want to comment on that. Then, like, is there like stipulation or like guidelines to be like, okay, sure, or can I say as a moderator, no, we are moving on? Like, I guess that's where I'm like confused. Maybe there's guidelines we're not aware of.
I believe there are, and I'm definitely not aware of them.
Yeah,
but
I'm
I feel
not
like
aware
there
of
are.
them.
But I do feel like that. I agree.
Because that would have went totally different if it was me.
Oh, it would have. It most definitely would have. I think I probably would have. If I didn't even look, even if I didn't personally already know you, Kim, I think I would have enjoyed the debates alone just because of the moderator. If it was you,
exactly. I'm like, Kim, shut the whole thing up. Everybody
y'all
shut
come
up.
see this. Come see this. This moderator on one. Come on, look, we gotta
When I
watch
say
this.
no, I
Oh
mean
man,
no.
my parents would be like, I wouldn't hear the end of it.
No, seriously, because I would have shut it down. Like, I'm gonna cut everybody's mics off. When I say no, I mean no.
Yeah, absolutely.
You cannot go, if you said what you had to say in those 2 minutes, even though it's not a lot of time, I understand that. But you already know how this goes. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
One of y'all been the president before.
Yeah, exactly.
You've been the vice president. So you already know how this rolls. So if you can get out or whatever you gotta say in 2 minutes, cut it off.
That means
That's
hit
right.
the main
And then
points.
one
Hit
of
the
them,
main.
she said 1 minute. She's like, nope, you have 1 minute. Like, she's not playing with you. And then on top of that, it's like, dude, that's a good point to just get to the point.
Thank you.
Prepare
Exactly.
no long monologue before we get to the answer to, you know what I'm saying?
Or the
Like,
long
just get to
monologue,
it.
or the long monologue with no answer.
Yeah.
Either or.
That's
Either
yeah,
or,
that's
because
my
that's
favorite.
a lot of that. I'd be like,
What
so
was
wait,
that about?
A lot
I'm
of
like,
Trump right there.
because I was looking at my, not for the most recent one, but just at my TV screen for the other ones. I'm like, so wait, so where's the answer to the question that they asked you about 10 minutes ago? I
They're
need to
all
know.
guilty of it, though. All of
No,
them.
they all are.
All of them.
But
yeah.
They all guilty of it.
Yep, they are. Harris has definitely done that. Biden did that. So they're all guilty of it. But it is what it is.
But it does be killing me that they just can't get to the point. It's literally, now, even though an elevator pitch is a lot shorter, you got to treat that like an elevator pitch. Hit them main points. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
And honestly, it would be funny to me if y'all would be remotely truthful and know how to navigate right. You could get out the right bit of information within 2 minutes. But you're too busy trying to add in the fluff. I almost think that by the time they done with the fluff, they didn't forgot the question themselves. I low-key be feeling like that a lot of times.
Absolutely.
A lot of times.
What was the question again? Wait,
Yeah, right. So, okay, wait.
Just do like my kids. I tell the kids, restate the question, then you answer it. You know, because then you know what you're saying. Anyways, let's move on to the next question. So the next question I have is about Amy Coney Barrett. I'm curious to know what your thoughts about the nominee.
I currently don't have any thoughts.
Terrible.
Who is that? I'm sorry.
That was me.
This is our new Supreme Court justice.
Oh.
That the Republicans are pushing.
That push is trying to push into that other group, right?
It's supposed to be like, the point was to wait, you know, because the election's going to be coming up. Like, why are you trying to push? We all know why they're trying to push, but you know what I mean? So she has a reputation of just being very conservative, not for women's rights, you know, based off of just her history. So a lot of women are like not happy about it, you know, and it's basically going to push us back, you know.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Right. The part about not for women's rights.
How could you not be for women's rights? Then that means that you shouldn't be in your position. Because at the end of the day, women's rights got you your position, what you're trying to fight for. So if you didn't want that, then you need to be in the kitchen.
I was just surprised. I was surprised because she's a part of a religious sect that's very legalistic in a sense. So it's a little bit surprising that she would have that role, right? Because if
they're very
patriarchal, if they're very patriarchal, how did she get that position? I don't know how that all works, but
I think it's by intent and design. You know, one of the things that is done is that they will run someone or have someone who, you know, at least presents a certain way. So by her being a woman, they hope to then squash certain attacks about the agenda, because it is a white male agenda. But if we have a woman saying it, then maybe that seems...
And it's no longer a white male agenda. And for the people that don't dig deep enough, they're going to be satisfied. Yeah.
Right. Well, it's not working because people are pissed. So
that's the hypocrisy, though.
They're not happy with her.
It's just stupid. It's just the hypocrisy. It don't make any sense. How could you not fight for women's rights when you're in a position? If it wasn't for women's rights, you wouldn't be in it.
Good point.
And when she speaks,
at that point,
like,
I need to have a conversation with you, because it's where is your... Is that any common sense? Then you shouldn't even be where you are at. You should allow someone that actually stands for that particular position and stands for everyone rights, not just for whoever you feel like it should be showered to. That don't make any sense. Like,
it don't, but it's done a lot.
Majority of them are.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. But you know, there was a huge sect of white women that voted for Trump, and that didn't make any sense.
That made zero sense to me too.
Just like
just the allegations alone. I mean, like, one man allegation of rape. I mean, he go under the jail. People go crazy. But then this guy, that's why I was really confused on how he, like, really confused, because any kind of allegation, women are very sensitive, and they're like, oh, no. So I don't know
That
why.
was surprising.
That's very surprising to me. So, but yeah. So the next question is, some say they are skeptical about voting for Biden after his comment about Blacks in the 90s. What are your thoughts about that factor? Is that going to be a factor in voting for him as far as his comment in the 90s about Blacks being super predators and he was for the crime bill and that kind of thing?
My thought process would only be, does that apply now? Because everybody kept harping on his comment in the 90s. Is he still, does he still think like that? Does his actions still show that? If they do not, that's irrelevant. That's my opinion about that. But I feel like you got to look at everything as a whole. And I feel like, to me, my first thought when I heard that is for y'all to feel like y'all got to pull some nonsense, because I was going to use another word, pull some nonsense from the 90s and we in 2020. So y'all couldn't find nothing else that was relevant currently?
Yeah.
And then for you to have to pull that means you really don't have anything of substance, at least not at that moment in time, to go against him. I'm not saying he's perfect. I'm not putting him on no pedestal, nothing like that. I'm just saying, if that is truly who he is, there should be other examples you could have pulled from that's a little bit more current and a little bit more relevant. Not from what is this, 30 years ago? I'm just saying that's kind of where I didn't, what I'm basically saying in so many words is I didn't put too much weight into it. Me
too. I felt the same because I just felt like, okay, that was a long time ago. He could have changed as a person, right? That's a long time. So I feel like, and on top of that, he was VP for Obama. So at some point, his mindset, I felt like, could have changed.
Hey, good point.
Or at least we hoped for it, right? We hoped for it.
Yeah, we hoped for it.
Right? We don't know for sure. We don't know him like that. But at the same time, you hope for the best. And you hope, well, I really hope, and in his 70s, also working for the for the Obamas, I'm hoping that he changed as a person,
I think he got a lot of goodwill built up in our community simply from being Obama's VP. And I think that's why we saw the big switch, like with the states and with the primaries, because I think at the end of the day, Black folks felt, at least that group of Black folks in the South felt like, okay, well, you stood with Obama, so we'll stand with you. I'm not saying I agree with it. That wasn't my personal take on the matter at all. I think Obama had tremendous pressure to pick someone who was more to the right and more.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm about to say.
Old school.
It has nothing to do with what he could be the same exact person. Obama picked what he picked is because he needed someone that was going to sway that Caucasian group.
Exactly.
And most of the people that was in that group were, what you call it?
You can say it.
I can't think of what the word is, but there's, it's just the rich people and those other lobbyists and things that. And this man was for those people. He's for those lobbyists. He's for those CEOs and things like that. He needed someone that will be able to fit in that group and be able to persuade those people. It wasn't because of anything else.
You don't think he's changed as a person, though?
No, I don't. We don't know him personally.
You're right. We don't know him personally. You're right.
I never heard anything after that, but then how will we know? A lot of that stuff is pushed under the ground.
Yeah.
So we would never know.
Yeah, I would be skeptical just because he did go in the first debate and advocate for more police. So so that sort of to me raised a red flag about, like, even though in this most recent debate he talked about Black Lives Matter, to what extent are you really about it versus just lip service? Because if you're out of one side saying, more police, and then out of the other side saying Black Lives Matter, then you're not really connecting the dots with, like,
the real foundation.
Yeah.
The foundation of policing being racist. Yeah.
Well, you ain't Black unless you vote for Biden anyway, so.
Also highly problematic comment.
That's a very high, because this just don't make people be confused and force people to try to vote a certain way.
Yeah.
They assume that Black people only vote Democrat. Most Black people do. and they want
that's not even accurately true.
That's not true. There's
So
a lot. Yeah.
If that was the
that's how
case,
they're trying to make it look like, no, it's not like that.
Yeah.
Not saying I could care less about Republic or whatever. It is, but we just, Republican at first, the Republican Party was Black. That's what we were. And then, of course, it kind of swayed during the
With
years,
a lot of things happen for it to sway to Democrat. Yeah. A lot of it had having to do with slavery, the Jim Crow, like a lot of that stuff played into it. But yeah.
Yeah, that was
I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping for the best. I am. I'm hoping that, with this last debate.
I think
I know. Maybe
I'm
I
looking
shouldn't
at
be
Kristin
hoping.
too.
Maybe I shouldn't be
I'm with
hoping at
her.
all. But when he said we're not defunding the police, when he said like that, those comments, I was like, I don't know if he's, it's like, what are you gonna do? It's either Biden or Trump.
You can't pick a lesser evil. There's no such thing.
Like it's either one or the other. And then somebody was like,
thing.
"Oh, you can vote green." I'm like,
okay, but how many
You
times
vote
do they
green,
actually
like-
get picked?
I'm gonna vote green.
what good is that?
Tanya, don't be special. I mean, at the end of the day, like, unless enough people were to vote in that direction, where is that gonna go?
It's
That's
not
my only
going
argument.
nowhere.
I never have an issue with people voting. Vote for who you want to vote, but look at it small picture and look at it big picture. So at the end of the day, if you like that one person, and I'm calling it one person because when you think about collectively all the people in the world, it's almost as if it's like one person voting for the Green or Libertarian Party versus voting for the Democratic or Republican. There's not enough. Now, if you're going to back that vote, I mean, also be willing to go out there and get other people to promote that so other votes can come in that direction if you feel that that's a viable candidate. And they may very well be. I know those particular parties always get overshadowed because people are more familiar with Democratic and Republican and or are too lazy to do the necessary research through all of the candidates. So they always just pick Democrat or Republican.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think we need to break out of the two-party system.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We need to politically grow. Like we need, there's more than this, So I do believe we need to break out of it, but I don't think it's going to work on a presidential level off.
Yes, agreed.
I think it's going to have to start very local, very small, like, okay, in your local race, maybe you run as a third party, and we start doing like district leader or like small stuff that is like alternative parties. And then it grows from there because I don't see people just being able to like a light switch go to another party. And for this election, people need to make a vote that makes sense because we're in dire straits.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Exactly.
And I guess that's where when I feel like people go Libertarian or Green Party right now, that's just not, I mean, you're not helping.
Yeah,
we don't have the best candidates by no means.
I said this is not the time to vote for that. Like this is about our democracy at this point. So if you're gonna do
personally
green and this and that, you wait till the next term, or something. Hopefully,
I just feel like that's what only because of people I used to talk to at my job and so forth. I feel like that's what happened with this previous one. Well, I decided to go green. Okay, well look what we got. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Not to be severely mean, but yeah, thank you because at the end of the day, how many people collectively voted for that? I mean, and I do feel like it's a matter of strategizing. What's gonna help in the immediate moment and help? I know I'm using that word very loosely because there's a lot of help that's needed. But what's gonna help for that immediate moment? And then going back to what Kristin was saying, go back to like strategizing in your local and in your city. I was just telling somebody else that too because honestly, if you wait till presidential, you late. Yeah. You already late. Like if we don't get them. I feel like if we get more involved on a local and city level, like really involved, not just because your mama told you should vote for that mayor because they friends or whatever, none of that. I'm just saying it would empower people more so to be more involved as they get further ahead because then they can almost see the path that it leads up to. But people dig that. I feel like people don't dig that deep naturally because, that takes work. Real talk, people are lazy, straight up. They don't do the research, and so therefore you wait until Not even always the primaries, because a lot of people don't even vote in the primaries. You literally wait till the presidential election, but by that time, you can't debate or remove those candidates. I mean, even if you were going to vote just purely on presidential, you still need to start further back. But at the very latest, you need to be doing something in the primary so we can determine who out of those primaries is going to be our presidential and VP candidates. But
yeah,
I definitely think we should get involved local and in primaries. And I think specifically we as Black people need to consolidate our political power. We are a base
for real
of a vote, and we are taken for granted completely. And people should be lobbying us, especially these Democrats in the Democratic primary, when we are the ones carrying the Democratic Party. They should be lobbying us. It should not be that hard to get a convo on reparations or a convo on real police accountability. It should not, this should not be a struggle. The Black agenda should be something people are trying to court and
fight for. Yep.
Yes. Yeah. I'm not sure exactly how we build that up, but I think we need to really start strategizing about how we do that.
So what do you think about that kind of segue into another follow-up question to this is, I know P. Diddy was talking about doing like his own party, the Black Party. And I'm just what's going to help that really take off would be what me and my friend were discussing. How can a third party really take off? You know, or I mean, you can't just have one person. Like it's collectively have got to be pushed by Blacks, and to me that would be very difficult to. You get what I'm saying?
And it needs constant, consistent support.
Yeah, money's fine. I mean, he got the money, right? But it's more than just money.
The one to start it, you know, like these Black women who started Black Lives Matter in Ferguson, who coined the term and started the protests and that sparked a movement. Them, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we need that to come from the grassroots, and then others can help fund it. So that would be my hesitation. I mean, you know, let's see how it goes, but I'm skeptical.
I'm a little skeptical too. I also feel like, as much as I am proud to be a Black woman, what do we need to call it a Black party? I feel like people are already going to consider that a form of division. I mean, if that's the name that sticks, I'm not necessarily 100% opposed, but I'm wondering about the thought process behind it, because I just already feel like anything we put Black behind, I'm not saying not do it just for the sake of fear or nothing like that. I'm not saying that. So if you know, I keep it, but I just feel like there should be a more thought process, because I feel like because of the climate we are currently in, it's almost going to add to the division. And then automatically, yes, the whole goal is to let you know this is for the people, by the people, but then it's also going to sway people away from it. So I guess figuring out a better way to strategize that so it also promotes having more support. But I don't have any strategies yet in my head to say, for examples, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, I think my thing was we should have not just, it can be called the Black Party, but it could be made up of BIPOC community. It could be made up of whites that back us. You know what I mean? I think that's what's going to help that be pushed forward, if other groups are backing us
exactly
too. You know what I mean? Because we only make up, I think it's 12%, you know, of the population. So we need backing, you know what I mean, to get this really off the ground, would be my thought.
I agree with Arian, but we do have a lot of political power, you know, so I do think even though we make up a certain percentage of the population, I think there's a credibility there. And granted, some people don't see it, you know, the white supremacists are never going to see it, but there is a credibility there in our lived experience that people should listen to, and that I do feel like over time there is sort of a growing sense of, okay, we should listen to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Point.
All right. Well, those are all the questions I had. Well, I actually have more, but we don't have enough time to obviously answer them. But yeah, thank you all for coming to this wonderful talk. We do this once a month, and I believe the next date is November 18th. So hopefully I'll see you all then. And Kristin, do you have any last closing thoughts?
Just thank you, Kim, for hosting the conversation, and thank you, just for the dialogue. It was good. It was rich, and I always take things back from this, and I think it just informs like my politics and conversations on the street and views in general. And it was great talking with you. And
Yeah,
all
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Well, we'll see you next time then.
Right?
Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming.
Bye.